I think that in Singapore, we do try to have policies which will look after old people as best as possible. We have devised a CPF scheme in which people, as they work, will contribute to their CPF accounts, and therefore we have a sustainable way of maintaining ourselves into our senior years. Again, if you read the Straits Times today, you will find that the state pension schemes in a number of countries are under tremendous stress. It looked very good at the time in which they were implemented, but they put tremendous budgetary stress on those countries and are in the process of bringing a number of these countries down to their knees. If you look at France, for example, there's strikes going on right now because the civil servants largely are protesting against an increase in the retirement age from 60 to 62. And in Greece as well, they've had to increase the retirement ages to have people work longer in order to try to fund the very generous pension schemes that they have. And it's not at all clear that this is going to be sufficient to be able to make those pension schemes solvent. And this is really one of the big issues in many of the European countries today. So we try and look after our old people, but in a sustainable way. That means each party has to take a certain responsibility. The state has certain responsibilities, and families and the individual himself has certain responsibilities to fulfill. And so I think with this balanced structure, we will be able to have a more sustainable way of looking after the needs of our senior citizens into the future. Specific things that we do, because the earlier generation of new citizens, senior citizens, some of whom were new citizens too at that time, did not have very large CPF contributions. CPF contribution rates were not very high. Therefore, you will notice that in the last 10, 15 years, whenever we have the opportunity to give out a growth bonus or to share the progress or the prosperity for a particular year, we've always been giving more to senior citizens to help them top up their CPF, to help them top up their MediSave, and so on. And now we've devised a completely new structure to provide for the long-term sort of needs for senior citizens into their senior years. So with the new schemes for basically an annuity into your senior years, which we've devised with the CPF, that will enable senior citizens to have an assured level of income into their senior years until they are no longer with us in this world. That was not available previously with the CPF system. But with the annuities, which senior citizens can sign on to, that now becomes available. On healthcare also, we are now looking at what is the sort of way to correctly locate healthcare. In fact, I think the young man just now, he was talking about the senior citizen who says he doesn't want to die in hospital. I think that's correct. I think many of us want to spend our last moments together with our loved ones at home, and we should try and facilitate that. I think it's more dignified. I think many will feel that is the way that they want to go. The hospital is a very expensive place to be. It may not necessarily be the best place to give care to people who don't need the full hospital care, but who really what they need is the love and comfort of their family members around them, particularly in their last days. And so we need to find ways in which we can cater more to such needs in a sensitive way, in a way which is helpful to families and to the senior citizens themselves, so that they can spend their senior years happily in happiness together with their families, enjoy the fruits of their labor over many years, and then can pass on peacefully into the next world. So these are not simple subjects to deal with. They touch on religion, culture, and also changing attitudes of Singaporeans. But I do believe that collectively, not just government, but individuals, the families, as well as government, we have the ability to devise an appropriate way of helping our senior citizens to do so, much more so than many of the countries which have tried to look after senior citizens by very generous pensions and health systems, and now find that these things are all breaking down because it's unaffordable for the whole country, very, very off-putting for the young people because taxation rates are tremendously high,